Okay, so we're trying a slightly different format today. Well, actually the format's going to be the same, but clearly the venue has changed. It's hard to believe that just a few short months ago when I started this new channel, I was recording these videos on the third floor of my house in my improvised studio, and which has no heat in it, and it was so cold up there I was wearing thermal underwear and a knit hat to try to look comfortable on camera. And now 5 months later, it's so hot upstairs on the third floor you can't even exist except maybe in the middle of the night, and then there's no natural light. So I thought I'd take an opportunity to shoot a video, or actually I'm going to try to shoot a couple of videos back to back today. But we're doing it outdoors. Now, it's not the nicest weather out. It looks like it could rain at any time, so I have decided to stay under roof, but we're outdoors enjoying the upcoming summer, and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. This is the first time I'm doing an outdoor video with this equipment. I don't know about my mic levels, that kind of stuff. I can fix a lot of that in post-production, but if something sounds a little weird, I'll try to make it better next time. This is sort of an experiment. So without any further ado, good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to the Suburban Proletarian. My name is Greg, and today we're going to be taking a look at a new knife I picked up, a Spyderco Dragonfly. I bought this for another video I'm doing, a more extensive video. This one's going to be hopefully fairly quick. I want to do a video in the future on the evolution of modern tactical knives in general and Spyderco in specific, and I didn't have a brand new Spyderco to show all of the latest features, so I just picked this up recently and I thought you guys might enjoy seeing it come out of its package. I'm going to be comparing it and contrasting it a little bit with its closest living neighbor, which is the Byrd Robin. Byrd is a sub-brand of Spyderco. It was the first line of knives that Spyderco made in China. I think they came up with the Byrd name and made it an entirely separate brand in case things didn't work out too well. They didn't want to taint the Spyderco brand name. Of course, Spyderco is making some of its budget Spyderco branded knives in China now, but the Byrd knives were the originals, and these are two very, very similar knives. So we're going to take a look at those on our improvised tabletop over here in just a moment. But before we do, I know this is not a watch video, this is a knife video, but still I feel obligated to do the customary wristwatch check. And today I am wearing my Rado Diastar. It's still ticking away very nicely. It's been a very popular, the original unboxing video of the Rado Diastar was very popular. My most popular video by far, and I am planning on doing a follow-up video, a true review of this watch now that I've been wearing it for several months. That'll be coming up soon. I'm going on vacation in a couple of weeks, and unlike many YouTube channels which kind of shut down for vacation, I'm planning on actually making a bunch of videos during vacation when I have time to do that, and my other responsibilities are somewhat reduced. So without any further ado, let's take a look at it over here on our improvised tabletop and open up this package and see what's inside. Alright guys, so here it is, the Spyderco Dragonfly 2. As you can see, it's just come in a sort of standard clam pack. I know a lot of new Spydercos, particularly the more expensive ones, come in nice boxes. But I'm not much of a box aficionado. If I can save a couple of bucks buying it off the rack in a clam pack, I will certainly do that. I guess without any further ado, let's open it up and see what it looks like here. Use my Byrd Robin to carefully make an incision. As I've already said, the Byrd Robin is essentially a clone of the Dragonfly, made by Spyderco as a sub-brand in China. I think when they decided to move manufacturing, some of their manufacturing to China, they were afraid of tainting the Spyderco brand, so they came up with this new company, Byrd, and I'll talk about that a bit in the future, or maybe even coming up, but just let's take a look at this knife right now. Let's take it out of its packaging. Wow, use the best methods and it's still sort of a pain in the neck. Okay, so my first impression of the Spyderco Dragonfly when I compare it with the Byrd Robin is that they're very, very similar knives. The Robin was clearly patterned on the Dragonfly. They have very similar blades. The Robin is just a little bit longer, although the cutting edge it's a little bit longer as well. Both have a adjustable blade tension. There's a screw on the blade pivot. Both feature pocket clips, although the pocket clip on the Spyderco is made from wire, and the Byrd has a more traditional flat metal spring steel clip. Both of these are very, very stiff. That one's extremely stiff. I've always been very impressed with how well this knife grabs your pocket. This one also seems very stiff. One thing that's interesting, the Byrd knife features a 4-position clip. You can mount it here, you can mount it here, here, or here. So tip up, tip down, left-handed, right-handed. The Spyderco only features tip up carry, right-handed or left-handed. Both feature the Boyd dent on the back lock. I'm a little bit skeptical as to the value of the Boyd dent, but I'll go over that in more depth when I talk about, when I do my upcoming video on the evolution of Spyderco knives. And of course the newer Byrd knife does feature, the Byrd Robin 2 does feature a flat ground blade similar to this. They've eliminated this goofy wave here, so the blade shape is a little more similar. One thing I've noticed also is the early Spydercos had a chamfer around the thumb hole. They were clearly beveled, which made them quite smooth. This sort of mid-generation knife doesn't have a chamfer, but it has been polished a bit around there to make it a little less sharp. I have to say the finger hole on this brand new Dragonfly is really sharp. It almost has a burr edge. There is no burr, but it is very, very sharp. Now that's good for purchase, but it might be a bit abrasive to the tip of your thumb. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, clearly their quality control is still very good. Absolutely no blade play. It locks up nice and solid. No fore and aft play, no side to side play. It doesn't drop close at all. But it's also not stiff to open. It just seems like a brand new knife, and it looks pretty good so far. I'll give an update once I know how it performs better. Alright guys, so I just wanted to do a quick follow-up. I've had several hours and several beers to consider my new knife. I really had fun shooting outside today. I hope you guys enjoyed the change of venue, but I was on a very tight schedule, which is usually a good thing because I do have a tendency to run long on these videos, but I've had a few hours to consider the new Dragonfly and compare it with particularly the Byrd Robin here. And I have a few other observations that I'd like to add in here without, I managed to get away with a fairly brief video, so I don't want to add in a lot of time here, but I do want to point a few things out. They are made out of very similar stock. The Byrd knife, the blade stock is just about exactly 1/10 of an inch. The Spyderco, the blade stock, is about 3/1000ths under. So very similar. Not enough difference to really make a difference. The grind is quite different, as I already pointed out. The all new Spydercos feature this flat grind. That's an update that came through Spyderco's CQI, which is continuous or constant quality improvements. The Byrd has the old-fashioned hollow saber grind, which is very similar to original Spydercos from the early 1990s, the very earliest lightweight clippets, like this Spyderco Enduro, which I bought brand new in 1992 or 1993. I've had this for a long time. And actually, these first-generation Byrds, although they're a lot newer than the first-generation Spydercos, compare quite favorably. The grind, the finish is very similar. But you can see that the new Spyderco knives are quite a bit different. You can tell there's a lot more automated machining going on here. Everything is a lot more precise and a lot more exact on the new blades. But they're roughly the same size, clearly meant for the same sort of size tasks. But boy, although they are very similar, the Byrd has a much broader, well, not much broader, but a broader handle scales, thicker, thanks to the stainless steel liners. You can see there are stainless steel liners inside the Byrd. The lightweight Spyderco, as is the case with most lightweight clippets, have no stainless steel liners inside there. So it's narrower and thinner than the Byrd, the Spyderco is. And the blade, although they're made from the same stock, the grind removes a lot more metal. So as you can see here, the blade ends up being quite a bit thinner in its profile. And that actually adds up to an enormous weight savings. Let me get my little digital scale here. And we will turn that on. And I have it set to grams. I would normally measure things in ounces, but I know a lot of you are probably not in the United States or the UK, and you are living in the modern world with the metric system. So the Byrd knife weighs in at just a hair over 60 grams. So not terribly heavy, but substantial. The Spyderco, on the other hand, which is dimensionally almost identical, weighs in at just over, or just about exactly 34 grams. So just over half of the weight of its Byrd equivalent. And the Byrd Robin, despite the fact that the handles, both of these feature the 50-50 choil, which I already pointed out earlier, which allows you to get your forefinger and your thumb here and leaves plenty of real estate for your other three fingers on the rest of the grip. But even though this is only slightly broader and slightly thicker, the Byrd has a much more hand-filling feel. And due to the additional weight and presumably maybe the stiffness of the handle scale liners, it just has a much more heavy-duty feel to it. The Spyderco with its flat grind is going to be a better slicer and cutter, but it just doesn't have that same sort of brutal strength feel to it. I'm not saying that the Spyderco isn't up to the task. It's certainly machined better. It's certainly made out of superior materials. This is VG10. The Byrd is made out of Chinese 8CR13 MOV, which is roughly the equivalent of AUS 8. Itself not a bad steel, and actually Spyderco heat treats their 8CR13 MOV to be a bit harder than you'll find in other Chinese-made knives from Kershaw or Gerber or whatever. This knife takes a pretty good edge. It holds an edge well, but there's no doubt that this is the superior steel. This is the superior knife, and there's a reason. I mean, this is $60. Reasonably $60. I don't know what the MSRP on it is. This is reasonably about $20. But my general feeling, even though they're very similar in size, they close up to very similar dimensions, this just feels more heavy duty. And of course, because it's cheaper, I'm less inclined to worry about ruining it. So this, I guess my final conclusion is the Byrd knife feels like a Monday through Friday kind of knife. I'm a maintenance man by trade, which I've already mentioned. This just seems like a heavy-duty work knife. I believe that the Spyderco is up to any of the same tasks that the Byrd is. I'm not trying to imply that the Spyderco is in some way flimsy, but this just seems a lot more like a weekend knife, a vacation knife. Not to say that you couldn't use it every day. I'm sure it would be up to the task. I've never, ever had a problem with Spydercos, but it just doesn't have a very substantial feel. And the Byrd knife, although it's very small, it does fill the hand quite well. I feel like I have a lot of control. This slightly narrower and slightly thinner grip, I just feel like I'm holding on to less. I feel like I have less control over the knife. I think the Dragonfly 2 is worth the money that you pay. I mean, it's made in Seki City, Japan. It's not made in China. It's made from premium materials. It is a Spyderco. It's going to last, but it just doesn't have that. And lightweight is great. I mean, if you're going on a backpacking trip or a kayaking trip, sometimes every ounce or gram can matter. So I'm not denigrating the Spyderco at all. I really like it. I think it's a lovely little knife. But I was concerned that when I would take this out of the package, the Byrd Robin would immediately get tossed into a desk drawer or thrown into a tackle box and never used again. And that is clearly not going to be the case. I think I will still be using this one to take to work for many years, and probably be saving this one for weekends, backpacking, you name it. Very, very similar knives, but this is a good example of, you can look at the knife in the package, you can look at photos of the knives in the catalogs, you can look at the specs, you can look at how they measure up, but it isn't until you get two knives in two hands that you can feel a really, really significant difference. These knives feel, in the hand, completely different. And that's not a bad thing. I don't necessarily say that I prefer this over this. I'd be a fool if I did. I mean, this is arguably the better knife. I bet you it's a better slicer. I can't wait to use this in the kitchen. I think this is going to do a job on onions that this really sort of thick blade with a steep grind just can't get done. All right, I've dragged this out long enough. Let's wrap it up. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that. That, again, was the Spyderco Dragonfly 2. It's a really nice-looking little knife. I'm not expecting any real surprises when it comes time to start using it. It'll probably get light duty for a while. As I've said, the Byrd Robin has become one of my primary carry knives. I use it a lot. I use it at work. I use it out in the woods. I use it camping. It's just a great knife for all the reasons I've already enumerated. The choil, the grip design, everything. It's a great working little knife. So, and it's still in great shape. So I'll probably keep beating on that one and probably save the Dragonfly for vacation duty and things like that until something happens to the Byrd or the Dragonfly gets a little bit of age and I don't want to keep it nice anymore. Not that Spydercos are really knives for keeping nice, they're hard-working knives. And as I've already pointed out, the Byrd knives also include a lot of Spyderco's CQI improvements. The latest knives do have flat ground blades. They're a lot more similar to the Dragonfly. If you bought a brand new Byrd Robin, I guess the Robin 2 now, it would be a lot more similar to this Dragonfly 2 than to its Byrd Robin progenitor, which we looked at. As a matter of fact, I have a Byrd knife on order from Amazon right now. It's the Cara 2 with a stainless steel handle. It's on back order. I got that to incorporate into the upcoming video on the evolution of Spyderco knives, so we'll be able to take a look in the future at a Byrd knife incorporating a lot of the substantive Spyderco improvements. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please go ahead and click the like button down below. If you didn't like it, go ahead and click the dislike button. You will not hurt my feelings, but it does give me feedback as to whether or not you are enjoying the content I'm providing, and it helps me decide what to make more videos of in the future. If you did enjoy this video, please, please, please consider subscribing to my channel. That is e-begging at its best. YouTube doesn't care about total views anymore. They only care about the number of subscribers you have. It doesn't cost anything to do. It takes just a moment, one click of your mouse or a stab at your screen to become a subscriber, and you can always unsubscribe in the future if you don't like what I'm doing. But it would go a long way to help keeping me here on YouTube. And when I do post my next video, I hope to see all of you here again at that time. Later, guys.